Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Hello. Welcome to our number 3 of the Line Talk 99.5. Talk995.com, Andrew Mclain, who.com, Real Talk 99.5 TV. Everybody's applauding Kendall Lib on the text line now. Well, that's nice of them. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I mean, I really admire him. I mean, to be able to change your belief system like that.
Yeah.
He has really.
It's very respectable.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten rid of the TDS. Doctors need to study him and find out how he was able to do it.
He's probably calling an attorney and filing a lawsuit right now.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be awful.
Because he hasn't responded. No, he just says what he always says on the text line. He said, you're a fool for calling J6 a hoax. This is where they get angry and start calling you names. We all saw the ignorant MAGA followers attacking police and breaking into the Capitol. Only foolish MAGA followers believe the propaganda you're spewing. Ken's pig mad. He's angry Ken. Let's see. AJ says JB doesn't have a whole lot of room to talk on the AI girlfriend front. He says just kidding, but I think it just means you can't criticize them, but you can warn them against it.
Yes, I mean, I have been through this. That's what I'm telling them.
Yeah.
You know, so Gen X, be careful. Don't fall for it.
Ed says, tell the traffic people that 65 South is backed up a couple of miles before the Alabaster exit. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know who the traffic people are. I don't know that I've ever met them, but I'll tell you about it. And if it's 65 South, it's backed up about halfway to Pelham, between Alabaster and Pelham, and it goes down past Alabaster. There is a wreck being reported, a vehicle fire blocking one lane there, right there at the Highway 31 exit there in Alabaster. And then traffic coming north where that vehicle fire is backed up because people like to look at vehicles on fire. So there's no obstruction on the north side, but people want to see a burning car, so they're taking their time. Anyway. 205-545-9950. That's a 545-9950. The House yesterday passed a resolution to end the war with Iran. They passed a war powers resolution to say that the President of the United States has to consult with Congress in order to go to war with another country, even though we don't have boots on the ground or anything of the sort. They still feel like they are in charge, I guess. So the House voted yesterday 215 to 208 to end the war with Iran. This is the first time that the House has voted to stop the military action in Iran. 4 Republicans voted with Democrats. Warren Davidson, Tom Barrett, Brian Fitzpatrick, and Thomas Massie. Thomas Masshole. And the resolution is going to now head to the Senate. I don't think it'll pass the Senate, but, you know, at the end of the day, I don't trust the Senate anymore. I don't trust the Senate Majority Leader. It's pretty bad. I trust John Fetterman more than I trust the Senate Majority Leader.
Yep, I completely agree.
I trust John Fetterman more than I trust many Republicans in the Senate. And that's a sad state of affairs. Now, there's a good chance the Senate will not pass it. But if the Senate does pass it, it will go to Trump's desk and Trump will veto it. So it's kind of irrelevant, but it is a way to let you know who stands where. And the House and the Senate, all of Congress, they know this. They know that this is not going anywhere. They know that if it passes the Senate, that Trump's going to veto it. They know there's a good chance it won't even pass the Senate, but they do it anyway. So people that vote for the War Powers Resolution, it's simply for show. Don't think in any way, shape, or form that these individuals are trying to actually accomplish anything. It's silly that it was even brought forward because they know what the votes are going to be before the vote even happens because they're all talking to each other and they're trying to pull each other's arm and get this person to vote this way and this person to do that. And it's just a whole big whodunit. So it's just one big song and dance. And all the while, the threats to the U.S. from Iran keep popping up. Like we've had example after example, even though some people want to continue to run around and say Iran posed no threat whatsoever. And in many cases, those very same people used to say Iran was a threat. You know, whether it was when Obama was giving them cash or under the Biden administration or whatever. When Democrats were in power, Iran was a threat. But now, all of a sudden, we're handling it. And they're like, Iran's not a threat. It's like Joe Kent. You remember Joe Kent? Who was at one time talking about how dangerous Iran was. And then once we went after him, he claimed that it was Israel's war and that Trump is only doing it because Netanyahu told him to do it and Iran posed no threat. You know, the exact opposite of what he used to say. All of them are like that. And at some point, people have to drop this idea that Donald Trump is doing anything on behalf of Netanyahu. Because as we said yesterday, the phone call that, now it was a left-wing outlet. I can't even remember who it was, but they reported on the phone call with Trump and Netanyahu where Trump basically said, you got to, whatever it was, you got to effing cut this ish out. Oh, he said, they said Trump called Netanyahu crazy, accused him of ingratitude, referenced helping keep him out of jail during his corruption trial, and yelled things like, quote, "What the F are you doing? You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it wasn't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." And this comes with, as Donald Trump's trying to make a deal, shots continue to be fired into Lebanon. And Israel claims these are self-defense strikes against Hezbollah, and they may very well be, but you don't know what to believe when it comes to news coming out of the Middle East. Israel absolutely has the right to defend themselves, but they've also got to play ball to an extent as Donald Trump is trying to do something that will, whether or not even though it's not for them, at least for the most part. I mean, the main part of this is to save our own ass. And if it saves Israel in the meantime, we're okay with that. Israel's one of our allies. But they've got to play ball in the meantime to help us get this stuff done. And they are not very good at that. And so that's why Donald Trump chewed him out. But it's yet another example of Donald Trump treating Netanyahu like he treats everybody else. If Netanyahu's telling Trump what to do and telling him to go to war because he wants him to, Trump's not going to be allowed to talk to him like that, and certainly wouldn't let it get leaked to the media. And both of them have essentially both announced that call did take place. I mean, Netanyahu sent it in so many words. He was Basically, like, yeah, well, we have disagreements sometimes, but we ultimately have the same goal. Um, After that phone call, Trump posted on True Social, he said, I had a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu today, asking him not to go into a major raid of Beirut, Lebanon. He turned his troops around. Thank you, Bibi. I also had a conversation with representatives of the leaders of Hezbollah, and they agreed to stop shooting at Israel and its soldiers. Likewise, Israel agreed to stop shooting at them. Let's see how long that lasts. Hopefully, it will be for an eternity. So there you go. Trump is trying to get everybody to chill out so he can get some stuff done. But anyway, back to the threat of Iran. Yesterday, the FBI announced that they raided a $35 million California mansion belonging to a tech CEO who was arrested for allegedly supplying U.S. equipment to Iran's nuclear and military programs. And all the while he was doing that, he was reporting to the IRS just a $20,000 income per year while living in that house and supplying nuclear equipment or U.S. equipment to their nuclear program. 63-year-old Yamshid Gomi, a dual U.S. Iranian citizen and CEO of a Tehran-based tech firm, was taken into custody on federal charges of conspiracy to violate the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. He faces up to 20 years in federal prison. Prosecutors are already moving to seize his mansion and other assets purchased with Iranian blood money. According to the DOJ, he procured hundreds of controlled U.S. origin items through eBay, PayPal, and direct purchases from suppliers in Minnesota and Nebraska, then routed them through front companies in the UAE to Iran, all without the required licenses from the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control. A significant portion of the equipment went to the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, the regime entity responsible for Iran's centrifuge and uranium enrichment programs, and Iran's Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces Logistics, along with affiliated military and defense electronics entities. So you got this guy literally living in the U.S., supplying the Iranian nuclear program. But they're no threat. They're no threat whatsoever. Nothing to worry about here. You got to come to the conclusion that, and it goes back to something we've talked about time and time again. It's like we just, as a society, we've insulated ourselves to where we don't know how to deal with adversity, at least without complaining about it or feel like, there's some bigger picture here. History will tell the story. Well, whoever writes the history books ends up telling the story. But we will be able to look back at this 10 years from now and say, thank God that happened. Thank God something was finally done. Because if not, it would have ultimately ended in disaster. Anyway, I want to get back to the disgusting individuals in the Senate. I'll do that when we get back. Also, your phone calls, 205-545-9950. Thursday edition of the line. Back after this. Yesterday, 5 years after medicinal marijuana was legalized in Alabama, yesterday, the first person in Alabama to purchase medical marijuana purchased their weed. 5 years later, the first person has finally purchased medical marijuana. Her name was Amanda Taylor, and she's probably high as hell right now.
5 years? That's a long time.
I know, dude. So backwards. This is so stupid. They just need to legalize it altogether. They need to legalize. They need to go back to legalizing the hemp is what they need to do. But that happened on a federal level. They ended up in a spending bill, basically banning the hemp. So it's irrelevant what Alabama does now. It's quite ridiculous. Quite ridiculous. Anyway, Ken the liberal finally texted us back, John Bird.
Oh, what did he say?
He said, let me refresh it here. He said in his text that, come on, dude. He said, hey, cuz, I just got a bunch of calls and texts from some of my MACA friends who listen to you. They said you was bragging about convincing me to join the Trump train and that I now believe J6 was a hoax. And he's using exclamation points at the end of every sentence, which tells me he's yelling. He said, wow, dude, I've been telling them for years that you guys spread nothing but lies and propaganda, and you just proved my point to them. I was out of my truck, so I totally missed whatever you said, but I guess it was pretty entertaining. I guess I should find it on the podcast. I'm sure it was hilarious.
I'll send it to him. But legally we're fine because we said afterwards that we would just joke. And
I can say whatever legally. You can't do anything legally. I mean, if he's texting the show, you know, you text the show just like when you call the show, cuz. You putting yourself out there. Bubba Rumble, what's up, buddy?
Hey now.
no.
Man, why even does Ken the Libtard listen to this show? Just to have something to be PO'd about or what, huh?
Well, you gotta understand. I mean, the utter existence of being a liberal is about being miserable. So you want to find things, do things, listen to things, consume things that make you miserable on a daily basis because that is where you find your comfort.
I cannot argue with that statement, and I actually support that. And that goes all the way through their whole political belief system, where I don't even know if they align themselves with candidates that they really support. They just, they're aligned against the people that they hate. They got to have somebody to hate. That's what fuels their life, like you were just saying. Like if they don't have nothing to hate, it's just like a wasted day.
Right. Got to have hate in your heart in order to get by day to day.
And they're also the people that talk about love all the time. Love trumps hate. Love is love. No, they're the party of hatred. Anyway, on that note, their king is Barry the Fairy Satoro, and you mentioned Iran and that homosexual crackhead in the same sentence, and I had to call in to voice my opinion on something about Iran.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I can't shake the feeling that, you got all these rug jerk, like, pseudo agreements and a bunch of lies and posturing coming from Iran. That seems to me like it's right out of Barry Satoro's playbook. I just can't escape the feeling that he's advising Iran on just keeping these negotiations screwed up. It's like, okay, now tell them you're going to agree to this. Okay, and then tomorrow tell them all bets are off and then shoot some drones at a ship or something. It's just right out of his greasy, commie, Sololinsky Puke 101 playbook.
Yeah, you cannot dismiss the idea that Democrats would be willing, and whoever that may be, congressional Democrats, Rashida Tlaib, Barack Obama, whoever, you cannot dismiss the thought that they would at the very least be willing to communicate with Iran through some sort of channel in order to keep this thing going and prevent Trump from striking a deal that would end their nuclear proliferation in any way, shape, or form.
I couldn't have said it any better, cuz you nailed it in my opinion. And I don't even have anecdotal evidence. I just have my redneck conspiracy theory spidey senses tingling about this. That's all I got.
Yeah,
But they're usually right.
I'm telling you, I think you make a great point because we all know that they would be willing to do it, and seeing that no low is too low for them, it's not a stretch to say that they are doing it.
Yeah, and Iran had no better friend in American politics than Barry the Ferry Soetoro. I mean, he was flying pallets of billions of dollars of cash straight to their country and landing our highest tech drones on their runways instead of crashing them in the ocean, things like that. So, I mean, there is a bit of a established history of him being quite friendly with the Durkas. So, anyway, maybe we'll find out in the long run that they are like him and Susan Rice and Jarrett and his boyfriend Eric Holder were working behind the scenes to muddy up the waters of this agreement. And who knows what the end game is going to be here, but we might just have to go right back to ground and pound on those fools and get it over with.
Yeah, I just wish Larry Sinclair was still alive. He'd probably bring it into this real quick. All right,
I know it.
Bubba, I appreciate it, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, I'm out, Coach. Hey now.
Hey now. Bottom of the hour. More show coming up. I'll tell you somebody else I'm disappointed in, and that is Josh Hawley. I'm actually disgusted with Josh Hawley, which is somebody I used to like out of the great state of Missouri, the show me state, where they say, we don't want to take your word on it. You got to show me. And that's the case for Josh Hawley. Instead of talking a big game, because that's kind of what Josh Hawley has done. He makes the rounds on TV, and he gets some good sound bites where he's fired up in committee hearings and calls, leftists out for their crazy bull crap. And I've always appreciated that to an extent. But he gavelled in a pro forma session back on Memorial Day in order to block Donald Trump. Now, let me explain what a pro forma session is. It is, in so many ways, a way that you can block the president of the United States from making recess appointments. Like when Congress goes on vacation, there are clauses and loopholes to where if a president is trying to get a nominee through, judges, cabinet appointments, or whatever, instead of going through the rigmarole of having, the Senate, do these hearings and ultimately vote on whether or not this person can be confirmed for the position, the president can say, well, Congress is gone, so let me just go ahead and put them in there. In order to stop them, there is this provision called pro forma, where essentially a senator or whoever is designated to lead the Senate at that time will go up to the dais, gavel in a pro forma session, and then gavel it right back out. And that essentially blocks the president from making any appointments while Congress takes yet another vacation, or the Senate in particular. And Josh Hawley happened to be the individual that did that. And I find that quite disgusting. It actually wasn't on Memorial Day. It was the day after Memorial Day. It was Tuesday the 26th. Josh Hawley, I'm going to read this to you verbatim. Josh Hawley presided over a brief pro forma Senate session. The procedural move of gaveling in session the Senate and then quickly gaveling out the session prevents President Trump from making recess appointments. It also prevents anybody from, making any arguments within the Senate or, you're essentially keeping everybody from bringing anything up. You're like, boom, boom, Senate in session, boom, boom, Senate's out of session, Senate's in recess. So in other words, Josh Hawley does not trust the president or his voters who voted for the president. And he knows better. So he's the latest snake to show his true colors. Unfortunately, the stunt by Hawley is to impress John Thune and Mitch McConnell. And the most unfortunate part of it is it did not gain much media attention. Thus, the reason that I just found out about it a couple days ago. So I want everybody to know what Josh Hawley is doing while nobody's looking. There was a user by the name of Grace Gossett on X. And I don't know if she's a Missouri native or what, but I thought she put it perfectly. She said, "Dear Senator Hawley, you have betrayed us. We thought for sure you were going to help us drain the swamp and carry out the mandates we brought forth when electing Trump. On Memorial Day 2026, while the rest of America paused to honor the fallen who died defending our freedoms, you chose to gavel in a meaningless pro forma Senate session, and then gavel it right back out. A 30-second ritual that accomplished exactly nothing except one thing: deliberately blocking President Trump from making a single recess appointment. You personally stood in the way of the American people's mandate. We voted, we won, we gave President Trump the White House, we gave Republicans the Senate, and we sent a clear message. Drain the swamp, confirm the loyalists, and move at a warp speed to repair what the last 4 years destroyed. Instead, you and the rest of the Senate club decided the dusty old rule book matters more than the will of the voters who handed you the majority. By keeping the Senate technically in session through sham pro forma meetings, you strip the president of a constitutional tool specifically designed to bypass obstruction like this. Do you understand what that means, Senator? It means qualified America First nominees, judges, ambassadors, agency heads, and military leaders remain stuck in limbo while the same entrenched bureaucrats who sabotaged Trump the first time continue holding power. It means the deep state gets more time to resist, delay, leak, obstruct, and laugh at the voters who believe change was finally coming. It means Americans are once again being told their landslide victory was meaningless because the Senate has traditions. You ran on fighting the swamp. You wrote books about it. You raised your fist outside the Capitol with the rest of us. Now you're the one holding the gavel that keeps the swamp alive. We are not disappointed, Senator Hawley. We are furious. You didn't have to take that presiding slot. You didn't have to participate in the ritual of protecting the establishment from the very change Americans demanded, but you did. Every day those positions remain unfilled is another day the agenda Americans voted for is delayed. This is not procedure. This is betrayal dressed up in a suit and tie. The swamp does not drain itself. It requires leaders willing to confront a broken system instead of protecting it under the banner of tradition. Right now, you are choosing the institution over the people who elected you. We expected better from you. We still want to believe you are not just another suit who talks tough on Fox News and then folds the moment Senate leadership whispers tradition. Prove us wrong. Demand these pro forma charades end immediately. Demand recess appointments be allowed so President Trump can govern at the speed this moment requires. Stand in that chamber and publicly call out the hypocrisy. Because if you don't, the answer to the question, what did Josh Hawley do on Memorial Day 2026 will be simple. He helped keep the swamp alive. We're watching, we're angry, and we will remember. Sincerely, we, the disappointed, disgusted, and determined Trump voters. The American majority you were elected to serve. That was very well put.
Yeah, it was.
I like
Powerful.
her. I like her. But yeah, I was shocked by that. I guess I shouldn't be shocked at this point, but it was disappointing. I guess disappointing would be the word that I would go with because Josh Hawley knows better than that. And he is seemingly siding with the rhinos in this situation. I mentioned earlier that Todd Blanche is going to serve as Attorney General. He's going to be nominated, and this, with what Josh Hawley is doing, is going to cause Todd Blanche to probably have to go through weeks of interrogation by psycho Democrats and rhino Republicans in order to get the go-ahead to be the Attorney General, to get confirmed. I think he probably will get confirmed, but maybe not. I don't trust these people as far as I can throw them. We'll see what happens on that front. GOP senators are already turning on the acting DNI, the guy that Donald Trump has put in place to replace Tulsi Gabbard. His name is Bill Pulte. And there was discussions about him during, what was it, one of the hearings yesterday. Well, first of all, you've already got GOP senators across the board like John Thune, who's signaling that he's going to be throwing the new DNI chief to the wolves. Now, he's not the nominee. He's the acting director of national intelligence, but they're already acting like they're going to work against him. There was an exchange in one of the hearings yesterday, the hearing with Mclain Mullen yesterday. No, it wasn't Mclain Mullen. It was Scott Bessent. And the question was asked by Rhino Senator Tom Tillis. And remember, I played you a clip of Tom Tillis the other day where he was talking about the J6 compensation fund, weaponization fund. And he's like, what a stupid idea. It's stupid on stilts. What a nerd. He asks Scott Bessent about Bill Pulte, and he says, did at one time you say that you were going to punch Bill Pulte in the face? Apparently there was some bad blood between Scott Bessent and Bill Pulte. And Scott Bessent responded, he's like, no, I actually didn't say that. This was back in the summer of 2025. He said, I actually told Bill Pulte I was going to kick his ass. And I don't remember. I think I remember this coming up, but I don't remember what was behind it or why those two guys didn't like each other. But essentially after that, he said, you know, we have disagreements in the administration sometimes. Sometimes they get heated in the locker room. He said, but at the end of the day, he said, I had a good conversation with him yesterday, and the ultimate goal is to implement the policies of this administration. And no matter how we feel about each other, we all come together on that, and we fight to pursue the Trump agenda. And Tom Tillis is like, well, I don't like him. I don't like him, and I'm not going to be voting for him. And, of course, you know, I don't know if Bill Pulte is going to be, you know, a good DNI. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I trust Donald Trump's judgment on that as to whether or not he can pull it off. I mean, Bill Pulte is a philanthropist that, you know, I guess has a relationship with Trump. I don't know a whole lot about the guy, but it goes back to Trump's judgment, and he has done a far better job in this second term at picking individuals to fill spots than he did his first term, because in his first term, he was trusting the snakes of Washington, D.C. And for the people up in arms about this person taking this position or that person taking that position, had no problem with Democrats appointing some of the losers that they put in their positions, like Lloyd Austin or Merrick Garland or Karine Jean-Pierre. like, could you imagine being mad about unqualified people? All of a sudden, you're mad about unqualified people, but you were cool with all those others. So the rhinos will be out in full force on that front. And so that's kind of our real battle. At the end of the day, our biggest battle right now are against the rhinos, because the Democrats are self-imploding in real time. They're kind of just shooting themselves in the foot. Democrats in New Jersey just elected or just gave a primary win to a candidate that in New Jersey that has ties to Al-Qaeda. Literally a guy that was buddied up with a convicted terrorist went and voluntarily testified on this guy's behalf in his court trial. And the craziest part of it is the district that this guy's been, where this guy's won the Democrat nomination, is the same district where Todd Beamer is buried. Todd Beamer is the individual on Flight 93 that said, let's roll, when the hijackers on 9/11 was hijacking that plane. The same district where Todd Beamer's final resting place is. Democrats have elected a guy tied to Al-Qaeda. That's crazy. And that's the state of the Democrat Party. They are in between that and the Plattner guy and everybody. It's nuts. We'll get into that and more coming up. There's so many there's so many stupid videos out there.
What were you watching?
There's one guy and he was like, I feel like I do this to my wife a lot too. You know how you don't know this. You're not married, but
Thanks.
no, I'm sorry. But married people will understand this. You're watching a video online and it's like you think it's funny, and so you lean over to show your wife and she just kind of looks at you like you're stupid. This video in particular is kind of like that. And I feel like that's how I treat this show sometimes. But it's a guy, and I guess he's playing Wii, and he's playing a boxing game. on the Nintendo Wii.
Oh yeah, I used to do that.
And he's got a stick, and it's got a controller taped to each end of it, and he's taken the middle of the stick and put it on a power drill, and he's turned it on, and it's just it's spinning the Wii controllers, and then, so it's showing him doing that, and then it's showing that. It's showing the video game, and his boxer is just going boom, 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 just beating the crap out of the guy.
How can people not laugh at? How can you not laugh at that? I mean,
and we think, people today are just, brain dead zombies. But if you watch some of these videos, I mean, people are there's still a lot of innovation out there,
Yeah, but a lot of times it's from not necessarily the young generation.
I mean, this guy's winning every single boxing match he plays. I mean, he's just pull it up. I just sent it to you. Pull it up real quick.
That's it.
I want you to see this. This is so good. I want to get that game too. Actually, that game looks kind of fun. It's probably good exercise too.
All right, let's see. And he keeps getting bloodier and bloodier. Oh man!
It's not a Wii, by the way. It's a Oculus, is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, and that guy's the virtual guy will try and move out of the way,
and he just gets
and
pummeled.
as soon as he goes in, oh man, I could watch that all day.
Steven's in Vestavia. What's up, Steven?
Hey man, I just wanted, you were talking about the communists taking over kind of project, and I was thinking if had not been for Pratt out in L.A., Romana, Pratt claims is the biggest socialist than anybody that's run so far, came in third, close behind him. So would she have won in L.A.?
So you're saying that who's the socialist?
Romana.
Romana.
I think that's the name. I think it was Romana.
Yeah, it's like ramen or Romana or something.
But yeah. Roman noodles or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he smoked her but she still came close third. And
yeah, it's scary to think that people will still vote for stuff like that. But, it is. We kind of chalk it up to, it's California, but it's scary to know that we're all breathing the same oxygen.
Yeah. Had it not been for Pratt, she might have won that election too. Seattle's already that way, and New York and New Jersey. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, it is. It's a bad situation. So good point, Steven. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's amazing if you just look at the current slate of up and coming Democrats, because we're moving in a way that the Democrat Party is kind of changing a generation, right? You've had the Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumer's. Obviously, Chuck Schumer's still there, but even some of the Al Greens, some of these others that are getting booted out of office, that are being replaced by even crazier people. And then you look at some of the other candidates that they're putting up, like Tallarico out in Texas. A guy running for the Senate in Texas that's a vegan, thinks God is non-binary, and that really loves trans kids. I don't like grown men constantly talking about how much they love kids. It's yes, we love children; they are the most innocent among us. But if you've got kind of this weird fascination with kids, it's a big red flag. They're putting in some real weirdos. And speaking of Plattner, I want to go into that a little bit, because I've been sitting on this for a couple weeks, and I just want to break down the plethora of scandals that this guy is dealing with. He's kind of known as the Nazi tattoo candidate, but it goes much deeper than that, and even gets in the realm of, what are you really doing behind the scenes there, buddy? Being on different websites that are known for having a number of minors on them and stuff like that. It's just weird. It's weird. And so my point being is that Democrats are inserting these type of people to replace the old guard. That's not good for the party.